Thank you guys for coming. I don't know the new count, but I appreciate everyone that's here. And I want to say that, this event is about mindset, and we're going to be talking about a growth and a fixed mindset. And I just want everyone to know that the fact that you're here and taking that first step already tells all of us, like, this is a great community and this is a great way to, get started, because the fact that we're here, took that first step, we're already applying a growth mindset. So I want to thank everyone that's here. Kevin and I, we've worked really hard on this throughout the last week and a half or so. And yeah, one thing I do want to address before getting started, this is on mindset. Some of the things that we talk about might be a little bit delicate to someone who's probably entering or knows someone that's in a state of depression. So Carlos, can you please speak on that? Carlos is our president. So can you give some words on that, please?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Nice to see some familiar faces. So as Santiago said, mindset is a very important topic, and it's one that often gets overlooked by a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And oftentimes, we're kind of told that it's not okay to not be okay, but we really want to emphasize that it's important to know that it's okay to not be okay. And if you guys feel that a part of this conversation is hitting either too deep or hitting too strongly, know that we are here for you in however capacity that you need. So if you need to step away, or if you need to talk with us after, feel free to reach out to us. We're all here for you at all times. We do understand with COVID going on, you have family getting laid off, you have friends getting laid off, you have friends getting sick, family getting sick. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it's a real conversation. So as Santiago mentioned, go into this with an open mindset. If things start to get a little tough, you guys have a support group, whether it's with myself or the whole team or the whole family. So yeah, I guess I'll end it there, and Santi, Kevin, kick it off.
Awesome. Thank you, man. And yeah, guys, very true. Take that at heart. We take that very seriously. And let's get started, So mindset, charging on, go Knights, charging on despite uncertainty. Uncertain times, a lot of things going on in our world today. So I think for us as students, engineering students, and majority maybe Hispanic, we're from different cultures, it's uncertain, it's scary, so mindset, that's where we want to start. So thoughts on the uncertainty, we already kind of addressed this. There was like new semesters, COVID, internships, virtual settings, all of these things, and that actually does go into like the four kind of things that I think kind of concern us the most. For on the screen, as you can see, the semester with masks. Semester with masks is something I like to, it's just a phrase I put into it because it's going to be strange, especially with someone new going to campus. Hopefully, you're staying safe and everything, but having, masks on and seeing everyone, it's just different, like there's so much to a smile that gets taken for granted. Unemployment claims rising, someone who's towards their later end of their career or degree, it's kind of crazy where 40 million Americans have actually, applied for unemployment, and it leaves us kind of wondering, like, what's going to happen with me, graduation, that's a big one. A lot of us, graduation, we work so hard for that moment to have your family there, celebrating, taking the pictures and everything, and getting that in a way taken away, like the experience, or making that experience virtual, could kind of be tough, and it's our reality right now. And of course, entering a recession. These are all really real things that are happening in our world today. So it's definitely something that we wanted to address, and that's why we're talking about mindset. Also, guys, most of us are students here at UCF. Be aware of the, coronavirus updates on our safety website. But yeah, let's go into mindset. So what is mindset? Mindset is a subset of beliefs about your capabilities. Now, capabilities is an interesting word for me. It's basically ability and capacity combined. So ability plus capacity equals capability. And what's cool about it is the more you increase your ability to do things on your own or by yourself or anything, and the more, you increase your capacity to take on more things, put more things on your plate, you increase your capability. So mindset is a very new topic, I think, for us maybe, because it's really, what are you deciding to set your mind on? Are you going to set your mind on the terrible things going on, or on the beautiful things going on? Are you going to set your mind on the things you can start working on, or the things you have no control over? So that's the whole thing we want to start talking about. And then Carol Dweck, I read this book about last year, and it has changed my mindset, the way I look at things, the way I attack or approach a new situation. I really recommend the book. So, if you guys want, I'll give you a link or just look it up on Amazon. It's really cool. So the book Mindset talks about these two things: growth mindset, fixed mindset. I'm obviously, summarizing it down a lot, but growth mindset, fixed mindset. And it's important from here on out. I want people to understand none of this stuff is new. We all kind of understand or have a general understanding of what it is. I think, however, that it's important to add that label to it. For example, Kevin and I, as soon as we met and started talking, he actually bought the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think he's going to show it right now, but that is so cool because he's actually applying a growth mindset. And I called it out, it's like, yo, that's applying a growth mindset. Something, conversations going back and forth. I'm like starting to see people that apply it, and I want to call them out on it because it's really cool that they're starting to apply that, so it's important to have that term. So when we talk about growth mindset and fixed mindset, I decided to kind of quote directly. Well, I kind of paraphrased it, but this is a quote from the book. Growth mindset: you have the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts, your strategies, and help from others. Keyword: help from others. We're here, we're here for you guys. Everyone can change and grow through application and experience. Fixed mindset. In a fixed mindset, students believe their basic abilities, their intelligence, their talents are just fixed traits. Now, keep in mind that this lady, Carol Dweck, she is a psychologist, and she was doing her research on students who have a growth and a fixed mindset. So that's why they're using that language. But Tom Bilyeu, who's someone that I've been following for years now, he's actually the one that put me onto the book. The most general and basic way of understanding the difference: people that apply a growth mindset, they focus on becoming, and people who have a fixed mindset are focused on being. So here's an important note: we all have both a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. It's there. We're not just born with a growth mindset. It's something that you cultivate, it's something that you develop. So there are times, and it's mostly the biggest insecurities that one has, where you're focused on being. What we want to help you understand is that you don't have to focus on being smart. You don't have to focus on being the best student. You just focus on becoming. And that's really where the growth mindset is applied. You become a good student. You become a good professional engineer. You become a good father, son, whatever, family member, and the whole process of becoming is never ending. And that's why it's called growth, So definitely keep that in mind when you're talking about these two terms: becoming versus being. In fewer words, subset. Mindset is a subset of beliefs about your about your capabilities. It is a decision, and it is the difference between being proactive and reactive. The quote that I want to share with you guys right now is actually going to be from Henry Ford. I don't know if you guys know who this guy on the image is. Henry Ford created Ford, obviously, and what's really cool is that he started the whole assembly line and mass production, which for industrial engineers, I know that's like, oh, awesome, but he really changed the way that the middle class back in the 1908-ish started growing. And one of his quotes, one of the most common quotes that he's known for, is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Now, I know this, I don't know if you've heard this before or not. If it's new to you, awesome. And if you have heard it a million times or seen it on Instagram, on one of those, motivational pages, it's there, but as cheesy as this quote is, I want you guys to really start internalizing that and think back to the moments where you thought you couldn't do something. And the crazy part is you didn't, just because of that thought that you couldn't. There are extreme cases, obviously, but really focus on that vocabulary of can versus can't, or being versus becoming. Before moving on, we're going to start talking about the beliefs for a growth mindset, the belief system you need. Here's something important to understand. Most people build their mindset by accident. This happens. We're not, automatically drawn to a growth mindset. We all come from different experiences and backgrounds, and we build them by accident. The whole purpose of this event and putting a label on it is so that you can understand, you have control of what you're going to start filtering through your mind, Another thing, I think I kind of just mentioned it just now, but none of us are blank slates. So I don't know. I'm from Peru. Kevin, you're from Guatemala. Carlos, Colombia, Nicole, and like we're all from different areas. We're all coming from a different background. We're not blank slates. And for that very same reason, and not to mention the whole experiences that we've had individually, So with that said, some of us will struggle a little more with a little bit of these these rules that we're going to kind of be talking about. Like, you're going to struggle a little bit, but that's okay because you're focused on becoming, not on being. So keep that in mind before moving forward as well. Just for anyone that's probably joining late, I don't know if we've had new people come in, but if you are struggling with depression, please seek professional help. That's something that all of us here take very seriously. I have a lot of friends that suffer with it, and it's not something to take lightly. So from here on, I want to make sure that, if something if a word or a phrase kind of triggers you the wrong way, that's not the intention. Like, just know that because it's going to get a little, especially with this topic right here, you are roughly average. But anyways, these are the required beliefs for applying a growth mindset. First thing that I want to talk about is disciplined practice. Now, the word disciplined is a very interesting word as well, because, a lot of us can mindlessly practice something, but it's that disciplined practice that you're really going to start getting to develop a growth mindset. Brain can change. Your brain can actually change. If you guys have time, look up a video on YouTube about brain plasticity. Really cool thing. It talks about how you can make new connections with your brain with stuff as simple as, I brush my teeth with my left hand, brushing it with my right hand. Simple stuff. Ability to grow and adapt. I mean, we're students, we kind of all understand that, but I think it's important to just remind yourself, I have the ability to grow and adapt to any situation that comes to me. You're roughly average. This is kind of the one that could kind of bring up a lot of controversy, but the thing is, we are all kind of roughly average. There's nothing special about us or anyone that has done anything great. They just simply put in that work behind it. They had a growth mindset and they were practicing in a very disciplined manner their craft. They were working on their craft, and that's the beauty of it. We're roughly average. We don't have to be extraordinary. We don't have to be a genius to do the things we want to do. Roughly average, but through practice, you become extraordinary. And then, yet is real. That's a very important word, yet, just a small word, but we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. So how to build a growth mindset. This is something that is going to take time. Some of you may struggle with it a little bit more. I took about 2 years to really start paying attention to my thoughts and everything. And keep in mind, it's going to take time. It's going to be a journey. And most importantly, it's a never ending journey, because there's always going to be areas where you can apply a growth mindset. There's always going to be areas where you can learn. And that's what we want to, promote and represent. So building the growth mindset. First point I want to take about is, in order to build one, you have to take complete ownership of your life. Now, I don't want to go too much into detail on that, because I could actually spend a whole nother event talking about that. But there's a great book called Extreme Ownership. And I'm really interested in how Navy SEALs operate. But I definitely recommend that if you ever have the time or the chance. The next point is develop the anti-fragile identity of the learner. So Anti-Fragile is the only book on this presentation that I have not read yet, but I know it's really good because I've heard people talk about it. And Anti-Fragile, what is it? So a lot of us, when we're going through a hard time or something, you can often hear the thing or the saying, toughen up, or just, ride it through, or be resilient, be tough. Those aren't bad things necessarily, but it's important to really understand, the purpose behind that. So tough and resilient, both those things are defined by their breaking point. So something can be tough, but eventually with enough pressure added to it, it's going to break. The anti-fragile identity is one that grows stronger the more it is attacked. Now I'm going to use an example that I got from the guy I listened to, Tom Billieu. He's like, if someone comes up to me and tells me I'm stupid, there's two ways I can address it. It's like, no, what the heck? Where are you coming from? Why are you being so rude? Or if I apply a growth mindset, I'm like, you know what? Thank you. I've made it this far being stupid, according to your opinion. what am I being stupid about, so I can learn and I can move on from that. Tell me, like, what is my flaw according to you? And then if I think it's worth it or not, I'll apply it or not. Like, that's up to you, the person who's has the anti-fragile identity. With that said, be the first to admit you're wrong. A person with a growth mindset will spend zero time defending a wrong answer. As soon as they notice, oh, my answer was probably not the best answer, there's a better answer, or this is right, immediately switch over to that. Okay, let's move. Spend zero time on the wrong answer. Why would you ever do that? Repetition of your beliefs. That's important. I actually would print certain phrases or certain quotes out and put them on my closet door, because for me, I just needed it at the time. I'm going to be very vulnerable here. Like, there was a time where I needed to see these things. I needed to see positivity, or wake up to positivity, because it was something that, I needed to move forward. Praise the process without losing sight of the goal. That is so, so important. So with all of us being students, the goal is graduation for university. The goal is to have a great income, whatever you want to do later on in life, right? But don't praise your process right now. If you're going to Calc 2 or Calc 3 or whatever class, praise that process. Be like, I'm here, I'm in this, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, because eventually working on those little small things is going to get you to the goal, So if you're praising the goal too much and you lose sight of the process, you're never going to reach that goal. So it's important to, I would even myself, I think I'm going to actually print that and put it up on my wall, because I'm going to need that for this upcoming year. Self-praise, I think that's super important, guys. I don't think we give each other or ourselves enough credit for what we're doing. We're here, we're out here, we're doing what we can with what we have. So self-praise, don't expect or don't wait on anyone to give it to you. Building the growth mindset requires you to tap yourself on the back. With self-praise comes self-discipline. A lot of people see discipline as something that's controlling you, but really discipline is what brings to happiness. I read that in a book the other day. It really brings happiness. Happiness does not bring discipline. Discipline and consistency will bring happiness. Great book, Power of Self-Discipline, No Excuses by Brian Tracy. I read that 2-3 years ago, and there's some really good applications there. The beauty about these books is that you can actually take something and apply it to your life as soon as you read it. So that's why I recommend them. If anyone has read these, by the way, please reach out and let's talk about it, because I love having conversations on these things, on these topics. But yeah, the whole thing about self-discipline though, before we kind of get off that topic, make sure that it's effective and not destructive. So if you have to catch yourself on something, you have to correct yourself on something, it's okay not to let yourself get away with a mistake. We'll talk about that in the next slide, I think, where we talk about the false growth mindset. But you need to catch yourself. You can't expect anyone to tell you, you need to catch yourself in those moments of fixed mindset or weakness, and make sure that you construct a plan that's effective and not destructive. So beware the false growth mindset. That's what we were talking about. You cannot praise empty process at all. What do I mean by that? I'm sorry if anyone here has gotten a participation trophy before and you were proud of it. That's empty process. 10th place trophies or things like that. Sure, it's important to praise your process and be proud of the work that you put in. But if you know that there's areas that you could have improved on, or there's areas that you slacked on, or you didn't hold yourself to your own standard, don't praise, beware that false growth mindset of oh, at least I tried. Definitely be careful with that while you're constructing and building towards a better version of yourself. Cultivate Perseverance, another great book called Grit. And grit, what grit is passion and perseverance over time. And that's how you become a gritful or a gritty person. Start doing things to develop your grit. And I really hope someone reaches out to me if they actually do this. Great way to start doing this. I've started to do it last week. For the first 30 seconds of your shower, make it cold water. That's a great way to start developing your grit. Don't ask me, if you want, ask me why. We'll talk about it later, but just one little thing, I want to challenge you to try it. But yeah, moving on. Average of 5 friends. This is super, super important. Great quote. I forgot who said it. but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, really process that. Think of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Tom Bilyeu, the guy I listen to, he takes it a step further and he's like, you're the average of the 5 ideas you spend the most time with. So really start to even write it down if you need to. We're going to talk about journaling, but it's really important to pay attention to those things that you're surrounding yourself with, because you will become the average of that. Definitely pay attention to your circle. Great way to get into a good circle is, become part of the SHPE familia. Later we're going to share the links, but you can join our Slack. That's where we're going to be posting our events for development, for the projects coming up, for mentorship, events coming up. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on this year, and a lot of it has to be virtual, obviously. So definitely reach out to us about that. Within the SHPE Slack, there's a development channel. That's where Kevin and I will be very active. We'll be, talking with people, asking for, opinions on certain events or whatever it may be. We'll be sharing internship opportunities, videos that are going to help you tackle on this virtual environment. A lot of good stuff. And then mentorship. So mentorship is something that's really, really cool. And it's a great way to get connected with a good circle of people. So if Mariana, if you're here, she is actually the director for mentorship this year. And if you could give some words on what it is, what your plans are for it, because I think it's one of the best ways to get connected.
Hey, I don't see Mariana in the participants list.
Is she not? Okay.
Yeah, but just wanted to essentially echo what her activities are going to be doing. Essentially, big picture, you're just connecting yourself with somebody who cares about your progress, who is there to preach for you when you're not there. I mean, that's what a mentor is, and getting connected in that circle. One, it increases your average of the 5 friends, so you're always surrounded by positivity. You're always surrounded by a mindset of growing, and then it gives you kind of this. Like I said, this person who can coach you and who can cheer you on whenever maybe you're feeling like you're falling behind, and those type of concepts. And I'll pass it back on to Santiago.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. But mentorship is going to be something that's really cool. It's going to be really cool this year, especially. If you have questions about it, feel free to ask at the end of this presentation. But I'm definitely going to be there. So, yeah, great way to get connected. Here's something, in these little bubbles on the side here, I'd like to talk about this real quick. The top one, great, but the bottom one, the struggle is guaranteed, the success is not. Guys, in anything that you do, if you apply a growth mindset, you need to have this ingrained in your brain. The struggle is guaranteed, the success is not, and that's okay, because we're praising the process without losing sight of the goal, of course, but praise the process. Because let's say, great example, struggle is guaranteed, right? I'm applying for a ton of internships or a ton of jobs when I'm ready to graduate, and I'm not getting the results I want. That's the struggle. There's no guarantee that I'm gonna get the job, my dream job or whatever, but that whole process of rejection, of trying, of adapting and growing, that's where the money is, because eventually that right opportunity will come. Taking immediate action. With the events that we're hosting for any kind of development, we want people to take immediate action. Now, if we get off this call and you take immediate action into what we're going to talk about right now, let me know, because I'd be hyped. I'd be really excited to hear about that. But we want to create the culture of taking immediate action. Example of that would be, if you get a homework assignment on that day, start it that day. Take immediate action. I have the bad habit, calling myself out, of waiting, and it hasn't resulted very well, to put that in nicer terms, but take immediate action in whatever you're doing, because it's just going to help you so much. I'll leave that there. So anyways, action steps. Let's get some steps. Let's do some things that you can actually start doing today. Journaling, I think, is important. I think a lot of guys don't see journaling as something that they need to start doing, or just people in general. You may think, oh, I'm too busy to start journaling. Guys, it is one of the most productive things you can do to put your ideas on paper. And that is the whole part of analyzing where you're kind of lacking or having a fixed mindset, and apply it to a growth mindset as well. So put your thoughts on paper. We have 60,000 thoughts a day, I think. So put them on paper. get clear on your direction. Write it down. Look at that every day. Put it up on your mirror. One thing I'm definitely going to be putting up on my mirror this semester is get straight A's. I have not had a 4.0 semester yet, and I want to do that this semester. So that's definitely going to be up on my mirror. Hang up your essential beliefs. There's definitely a lot of beliefs that you can like go through. So pick out the ones that speak out to you the most, focus on them, and hang them up. You know, that'll help you out a lot, especially during these hard times. That's how you get past hard times, by reminding yourself of this is who I am, this is my identity. So let's move forward, you know. Audit your self-narrative. This takes a lot of practice. I mean, I still catch myself sometimes. Even last week, it happened to me at work. I caught myself having a fixed mindset idea or response, and then I had to immediately catch myself. I work with my brother as well, and I went to him. I'm like, dude, I just caught this. I need to switch it around. That's not me, you know. So audit your self-narrative. Acquire skills. We're gonna have a whole event on skill acquisition later, so stay connected to that. Audit your pattern of quitting. Ooh, that's a big one. That is, and all of these things, you do it by journaling, because if not, it's just gonna get lost in your head. You're not gonna get back to it as much as you say you will. Put it down on paper, write it down on a Word document, have it registered. Read Mindset, the book. If you read it, reach out to me. I want to talk about it. Journal about a growth mindset. So yeah, the whole concept of journaling. This is the thing I wanted to get to. Become obsessed with yet. So example, I don't know how to figure out this line of code yet. When you add yet to a fixed mindset sentence, it immediately changes it to a growth mindset, because you're saying yet, it's like, okay, I can't do this yet. What are the steps for me to get there? Pay attention to your self-narrative and add that word yet. And lastly, find a community. Here we're here to offer the best experience for UCF students in engineering, but anywhere else too, you know, with any other major. But geared towards engineering, we want to offer the best experience for you guys, because this is a growth mindset community. I noticed that from day one, and I've really plugged myself in. I mean, all the board members, both executive and then just the board members as well, like I've seen a growth mindset in each and one of them, and I feel great with being in that circle, because I kind of feel like I found my tribe, you know. So definitely find a community. Hopefully that's us, and here's how you can connect with us. So scan the barcode. It's going to take you to a link tree of all the ways you can get in touch with us. Best way is through the Slack, because we're all there, and you can reach out to me, to Kevin, Carlos. I'm pretty sure anyone else we're all going to be willing to help. We're very active on there, especially now because everything is virtual. And yeah, this actually concludes the presentation part of things. I really hope you can take something from this event and start applying it, because like we mentioned before, we're stepping into unknown territory with COVID, with the campus being closed and everything. And we want to take that best foot forward, applying a growth mindset and everything that we just talked about to get the best experience that we can. So yeah, Kevin.
Thanks for showing up. Wish you the best. Reach out if you ever want to talk about anything, want to have a conversation. I know Santiago loves talking books, so if you need a book recommendation, he's the guy to go to, 100%.
Love it.
Yeah, thanks for
sure,
joining.
man. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.